raise your hand function, and I will come over and unmute you so you can talk to Brenton. So we'll start with Tyler Donahue.
Hey, good morning, Brenton. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving as well. Wanted to ask about Pat Friarmu's role in the tight end room, even though he's not available to play in games for the rest of the season. How active is he with you, and what has his guidance looked like with you stepping into that #1 job?
Yeah, so Pat wasn't at practice last night, but after practice we talked. We called each other on the phone, and we just talked about Michigan's defense and stuff they do, and like his experience from playing Michigan, just stuff like that. Anything that he can help me and the other guys out with.
Partha Padye.
Hey, Brenton, when you first found out that Pat wasn't going to be able to play the rest of the season, and you kind of learned that you were the guy at tight end, what were some of your initial thoughts? Was there kind of a sense of nervousness naturally, or what were you thinking in that moment? And when did you find out?
My initial thought, I was definitely hurt because Pat's family to me, and then obviously I was nervous for a while, but I knew that I had prepared for this. I knew this is something that I've been preparing for my whole entire life. So as soon as the first play was over, the nerves kind of went away.
Johnny Collins.
Hey, Brenton, when did you – obviously you're a play away as the backup anyway from getting into the game and being the starter. But at what point in your time with Penn State did you feel like you were really capable of getting in there and doing that and playing that role?
I'd definitely say in camp. In camp this year, I felt like I had grown a lot as a player, as a person. I gained a lot more knowledge about the game of football. I just knew how to play the tight end position a lot better, and I knew what to look for in the run game, in the pass game, just stuff like that. So, yeah, probably this summer.
Nate Bauer.
Brenton, is that mental component? Is that the area that you feel like you've had the biggest development in your time at Penn State, or has there been kind of a physical component to that too?
Honestly, I thought the mental component was going to come a lot easier to me than the physical, but when I got here, I gained like 30 pounds off rip. So it was definitely the mental component for me, just learning the game of football a lot more. I thought I knew the game of football. I didn't know it as well as I did. And Coach Bowen and Pat and Nick Bowers, guys, the older guys, the vets in the room, Coops, they brought me along and they helped me learn a lot more.
Tyler Donahue.
Brenton, we have heard a lot about that weight you gained. Tyler Bowen talked about how quickly you were able to pack that on. What was the key? We know you're lifting heavy weights, but what were you consuming? How many calories, and what was kind of the go-to pack on the weight meal over the course of this thing?
I don't think I really had a go-to meal, but I had to eat more when I was at home. I would skip meals a lot because I wasn't hungry. I wouldn't eat a lunch all the time. I wouldn't eat a breakfast all the time. Just things like that. Staying consistent and always getting your calories in, it definitely made a difference for me.
Mark Brennan.
Brenton, how much of a leader do you have to be now? Obviously, Pat was a big leader and Kuntz as well, but both of those guys seem to be banged up. So out there on the field, you're still a young guy, but do you feel you need to embrace that role?
I definitely do feel like I need to embrace the role of being a leader in our room right now, especially me being the oldest, not counting Kuntz. Lead by example to the young guys, and just whatever they need, me and Kuntz will be there to help them.
Johnny Collins.
Brenton, were you surprised at how much weight and strength you were able to put on so quickly? It seems like that's kind of abnormal. To be able to that's kind of freakish to be able to put that kind of weight on and strength. Was it something surprising to you? Did you kind of wrap your head around that being a possibility coming in?
It was definitely surprising to me. I remember when I would come here on recruiting visits, Coach Gold would always tell me that I could put the weight on real fast, Coach Franklin and Coach Gold, but I really didn't believe it. Like, I thought it would take at least 2 years, but it took about like probably 2 to 3 months, and I was looking like a complete different person.
Tobias Wilborn.
Thanks, Nicole, and Brenton, thank you as well. When this season, what have you noticed about Jahan Dotson? What does he do for you as a tight end? What does he do for the whole offense when he's able to get catches the way that he does?
He opens the offense up. The defense plans for him, and other guys get opportunities. I've been seeing Jahan do this for a while now, so I'm not really surprised by it.
Ben Faree.
Hey, Brenton. Yesterday, James, when he was talking to us, said that the phrase, "we just want to get better today," a couple times. What does that phrase kind of mean to you, and what are you and your teammates doing to make sure that you get better each day?
Sometimes I think we, like, as people, try to get ahead of ourselves and try to look too much in the future, but just staying present and being present in everything you do helps you out a lot, definitely, and just focusing on today.
Nate Bauer.
Brenton, what was your situation during the March, April, May, June COVID thing, and did you how was your strength and conditioning component impacted? Did you feel like there were any struggles trying to maintain or keep the trajectory that you had physically before you left?
Now that I knew that I had to eat a lot to keep my weight, not really. I think I was wearing a little bit more because of the home-cooked meals from my mother. But, I mean, I watched my little brother a lot because he also wasn't in school either. So it would just be me and him, and we would go get in some work every single day.
Tyler Donahue.
Brenton, behind you on that depth chart, we saw a bit of Theo Johnson. We're starting to see a little bit of Tyler Warren. Can you kind of give us the scouting report on those two players thus far from what you've seen? And Warren's a guy that we really don't know much about because, unlike Theo, he didn't play tight end in high school.
Mm-hmm. They're two great players. They're both young. I mean, I think they're going to have very bright futures in Penn State tight end room, both of them.
Mark Brennan.
Brenton, just for the details, what did you weigh when you stepped foot on campus, and how much weight? I guess what did you weigh at the end of it, and how do you maintain that? You talk about eating a lot. What does that maybe look like to a non-athlete?
Can you repeat that question? I didn't hear the first part. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. What did you weigh when you first got on campus? And then how do you maintain that weight after you've put it on? When you say you eat a lot, what does that mean to somebody who's like a non-athlete and doesn't really have to deal with that?
I think I weighed around, I want to say 210, 215 when I first got on campus, somewhere in that range. And like, as for eating, when I go home and like I'm around family and stuff, they're like, "Dang, you eating for two people." It's like, it's what I got to do to keep this weight on me.
Johnny Collins.
Brenton, how is the tight end position different for you now from a mental outlook, strategic outlook than it was when you got in? How much did you have to learn about it?
Definitely not playing tight end in high school and making the transition to college was big for me. I really didn't know how to run block. I didn't know how to do, like, I would be doing too much at some times, and I really had to like lock in and learn what to do, how to do it, like know my what, know my why, and know my how. So once I learned that, it became like a lot easier for me, and I felt like I could play full speed.
Tobias Wilborn.
Obviously, a 0-5 start is tough. It's just not what you wanted. But what have you found in this year to be thankful for, to have joy for?
I mean, we're a young team. experience for all the young guys, including myself, and then just everyone getting reps against another defense besides our own.
Parthapadje?
Brenton, two quick things. What position did you play in high school? And my second thing is, obviously you talked about kind of that moment where you realized that you had what it took to be a starter, I didn't at Penn State, but starter is one thing, and then filling the shoes of a guy like Pat Friarmu is a completely different thing. What makes you think you're ready for that in particular?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi keeps cutting out.
No, you're good. The first thing I asked was what position you played in high school, and the second thing was kind of what makes you think that you're ready to fill the shoes of a guy like Pat Friarmu, an All-American.
I played wide receiver and outside linebacker in high school, and quite honestly, I think it's going to take a lot more work. I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready to completely fill the shoes of Pat Friarmu right now, but I'm going to keep getting better every single week to do that. So,
Tyler Donahue?
Brenton, you were one of the early priority targets for Tyler Bowen that first year of his on campus. Do you remember when he was making those trips down to you and kind of selling you on the vision for your future? What stood out about what he laid out for your future at tight end at Penn State?
He told me what I liked about Tebow and what I liked about Penn State a lot is they always kept it straightforward with me. They didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. They told me what I needed to hear. So that was big for me in the recruiting process, and that's a big reason why I came here.
Nate Bauer?
Hey, what are the differences, if at all, kind of adjusting to and dealing with two quarterbacks right now for you guys?
I think they can both help us win games. So and our offense always practicing with them all summer long. We didn't have a spring this year, but last year in the spring, I think they both can help us win. And whatever one coach decides to put in is gonna be the right one.
Johnny Collins?
Brenton, do you like the blocking aspect of the tight end position? Is that something you've taken to?
I definitely do like that. I like that. I don't think all players want to be physical, and being physical is something that I'm willing to do, especially if it's to help the team win. So I do like blocking, and I like watching a lot too. I like watching players like George Kittle just blow up people, and yeah.
Matthew Rudisil?
Good morning, Brenton. Who's another guy on the team that you kind of lean on other than Pat for guidance?
For me, I would say Zach Kuntz. We're really tight too, being in the same position group, and I know if he needs anything or if I need anything, that we can come to each other. So yeah, I would definitely say Zach Kuntz.
Tyler Donahue? Tyler, go ahead. I think you're unmuted now.
Okay, sorry. Didn't realize you couldn't hear me. Brenton, when you look at Caden Wallace, like another player in your class who's stepping up into that starting role, we've seen him at right tackle lately. What has impressed you about Caden since he got to campus as a member of your freshman class?
What's impressed me and Caden lived together, and we're lifting partners for a while. So what impressed me lifting with Caden is just how strong he is and like how well he can move his weight. You really don't see big dudes like that can move weight like that. So.
Any last questions for Brenton before we close today? All right, Parth, we'll give you the last question here.
Brenton, outside of the football program here at Penn State, when you first found out that you'd be the guy, who'd you kind of go to for advice or to kind of vent, your anxiety to, whether it be family or a former high school coach, whatever it may be?
When I first found out, it really wasn't like I had a lot of anxiety about it. I was really excited. I knew it was an opportunity that I had to take advantage of. I knew it was something that I had to come in, like you guys said. Pat Friarmu has been playing this tight end starting here, so like I knew I had to step up big time. But I told my mom, and we talked about it, and she told me that I had to take advantage of the opportunity that God has given me. So